Constitutional Court will today hand down judgment in the long drawn-out legal battle between Nkosana Makate and Vodacom over the Please Call Me invention. The Apex Court will rule on whether the Supreme Court of Appeal acted beyond its jurisdiction in setting aside the 47 million rand compensation for Makate made by Vodacom. Acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga will give his final judgment in this case, and that's before he hangs up his robe this month. This marks the end of a judicial career that spanned 17 years on the bench. Watching all of these developments for us is our SABC News team comprising Canny, Maphanga and Liabo, Setho, who join us now live from the Apex Court. And these are two such important developments, Canny. I think it comes as no surprise. So much attention is on Braamfontein this morning.
Indeed, good morning to you, Ayanda, and to the viewers at home. We're back at the Constitutional Court this morning, this time for that special ceremonial sitting of Acting Deputy Chief Justice, Justice Madlanga, who will hang up his robes after 17 years on the bench. And he'll do so with a landmark judgment that the public is waiting or eagerly waiting to hear from at 10 a.m. this morning, the Vodacom versus Makate appeal, which the Constitutional Court will deliver this morning, and it will put an end to this long protracted battle between Vodacom and Nkosana Makate, who is the inventor of that Please Call Me mobile service that has garnered billions for the Vodacom service here in South Africa. But before we get to the events of today, we have spotted Mr. Makate making his way into the Constitutional Court this morning, and such a big day following a long fight. And of course, we had to get your thoughts ahead of this landmark judgment. We expect that this will be the end of the journey. We've already seen the Constitutional Court emphasize that Vodacom had to act in good faith with you regarding this agreement. The only dispute is how much you are entitled to regarding this particular issue and the invention that you have created that has garnered billions. Quite a long fight. How are you feeling this morning?
No, I'm feeling a bit, relaxed. I'm hoping that the court, has taken a long time, 8 months now. We thought it would come sooner, but 8 months on. So I hope, and I'm sure that the judges will have applied their minds properly to the matter, and this will bring finality to the matter.
And are you hoping that this 5 to 7% that the SCA estimated of that revenue of billions will be upheld by the Constitutional Court this morning? Do you have faith that they can uphold that ruling and finally vindicate this process that started in the early 2000s for you?
Yeah, no, I think the SCA did a lot of work. They did good work. And I think we expect the CC to also most likely align with what the SCA has done and provide some clarity and remove any ambiguities in that order that were present, which Vodacom brought to the Constitutional Court. We are bit. We think that they will do that.
In addition, what are your thoughts regarding how Vodacom has engaged with you on this particular issue? We know that there was an offer that was made. You felt that that was not fitting for the kind of invention and the kind of success it has brought for that particular company. How do you feel about your engagement with this mobile giant in this long protracted fight for what is owed to you?
Yeah, I've always been a Vodacomer. I started working there as a teenager. So it has been a battle, a bruising battle, I'm sure, on both sides. And I'm just happy that it's coming to finality, honestly. And we can be friends again.
Yes. And should you be successful today, or the SCA's ruling is upheld by the Constitutional Court, what can we expect next from the Please Call Me inventor if that award is given to you?
I'll take a long break. That's what you'll expect from me.
All right, thank you very much. That was Nkosana Makate heading towards the Constitutional Court with that landmark judgment expected later today. I do want to bring in economic senior journalist Liabo Setho regarding the technicalities in this long protracted battle. We have seen Vodacom fight quite heavily, even some criticism stating that the Constitutional Court is not an appeal court regarding issues of this matter. Was it fitting for it to be brought to this particular court? And what Was the SCA correct in its finding regarding the revenue and what was entitled to Nkosana Makate with regards to acting in good faith between the two parties?
Yeah, so I think today's case is going to set a very important precedent, especially when it comes to companies and how they compensate their employees when it comes to inventions such as like this, and probably also tightening some of their human relations policies in place, because, I mean, from 2025 years, more than 20 years that this case has been running, and intellectual property now becomes one of the things that are put at the fore. When you come up with an invention that essentially changes the lives of South Africans, to what extent is the company entitled to a share of that? To what extent are you as an employer? But to have the Constitutional Court finally put this matter to rest is very important. And we'll also see, you know, how much you mentioned when you spoke to Mr. Makate about. That is billions, Canny. That is a lot of money. What will this do to the balance sheet of Vodacom, right? What will the shareholders of Vodacom, people who hold shares and shareholders of Vodacom, what does this mean? And we'll be looking when the markets open up, and actually they just open up shortly, what the Vodacom share price is doing. That will give us an indication of, you know, where the shareholders are thinking in terms of their mindset. But today, a very important case, but also not only for Mr. Makate, but for Vodacom itself and other companies who probably are sitting with the same cases and they're not sure and they're looking for precedents. I know with legal issues, you know, you tend to go back to case law and look at what did the Constitutional Court rule, but a very important case.
Indeed, and the impression was created that such a compensation would bring this mobile company to its knees. Is that the assessment that is made when you're looking at it from the economic perspective, that are they even able to honor that compensation agreement, and how do you go about it if he is successful in the Constitutional Court?
It has the potential, and it could also mean, you know, about its own existence in the telecommunications space, you know, if they have to pay out an amount of that much. But one would also argue, with the amount of time that this case has been dragging on, could they have not made some sort of a leeway, you know, to think about if the Constitutional Court does indeed rule that we have to pay these many billions, what are we going to do? What's the future or the financial future of Vodacom? Vodacom does well as a business because it's a service that's used as one of the big three telecommunications company, and to have so much money leave their balance sheet is going to have an impact on them, but it also serves as a lesson, right? How tightly do you screw on your policies when it comes to this? And I'm sure a lot of other companies will be looking at this case and taking notes that, you know, how do we tighten the loopholes that are there? Because you might also remember that people will be reluctant if you working for the SABC come with an amazing invention. You know, you also want to be compensated, but how do you level the ground between yourself and your employer?
Yes, I was going to touch on that, Liabo, regarding the integrity of protecting these young innovators and the ideas they come up with for these various companies. Going forward, does that now affect the way in which employees will perform in these various industries where they feel that such ideas they may not be compensated for because look what happened in this particular matter, if that is the case?
This is going to be the case that actually determines that. And you will think of yourself when you're thinking of solutions, if you're an entrepreneur working in an organization, you know, to what extent are you going to be opening up yourself to the ideas that sit in your head to help the company, to help whatever industry, to help South Africans or the economy at large? This is the case that everyone is going to be looking at. Do I mention to my boss that I have this invention running, and to what extent will I be compensated? Because that is important. Do I stand to become a billionaire? But can you wait the amount of time that Mr. Makate has waited? He's waited such a long time. Do you have the grit and the gut to go through from court to court looking for compensation and fighting for your rights? I cannot wait to see how this goes, Canny.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Liabo, Setho, senior economics journalist, joining us regarding the technicalities surrounding this case and what it means for future innovators and future big companies such as Vodacom. Now, this judgment will be taking place under the lens of the acting Deputy Chief Justice, that is Justice Madlanga. Of course, he'll be hanging up his robes. After 17 years on the bench, following that judgment, we expect that various sectors of the legal profession will share their words on his path and his journey here in the Constitutional Court as they bid farewell. But of course, as he hangs up his robes, his work is not yet done, as he will continue with that commission of inquiry that is probing those very serious allegations made by Lieutenant General Nkosana of alleged collusion between public office bearers and alleged criminal syndicates in South Africa. So the work is not yet done, but we will be celebrating that particular justice today at 10 a.m. this morning, paired with that landmark judgment that will be delivered by the Apex Court at 10 a.m. Over to you in studio.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Madiba who said you summit one mountain only to realize that there are so many other mountains to summit. I imagine that's the sentiment that Justice Madlanga has at this moment. But Canny, Maphanga, Liabo, Setho, our SABC News team, watching all the developments as they unfold at the Constitutional Court. Thanks very much indeed.